Morning, fellas. Welcome to another episode of Car Addiction. As I promised earlier, I was going to make a Mercedes SLK buying guide video, and here I am doing it. Please ignore the weather. Today is a typical January, first week of January in Canada. With the wind chill, it feels like close to minus 30. We're just going to ignore the fact because the purpose of this video is to make a buying video for an SLK. I purchased this car a couple of weeks back from Windsor, Ontario, and it was a lady-driven vehicle with all the maintenance history and whatnot. But this car has all the problems that you need to be aware of when you are purchasing an SLK. It check marks pretty much everything. They do not do this car has it. So it runs and drives pretty well. Mechanically it's a pretty solid car. There's no weird noise or anything like that. The Vario roof, it works perfectly. I'm not gonna show the roof opening today because of the temperature difference. It's really not good for some of the intricate plumbing system. So a couple of things you need to know. Number one, I'm going to read off a page because I made a note. I believe the best model year of SLK to purchase is between 01 and 04 because that's the time the computers were not as complicated as recent days, and if you are handy or if you know how to work on cars, you can still purchase it at a reasonable price and you can do a lot of work yourself. So that's why I went with this model than anything newer. So previous to that, the first generation SLK was it started at 1996, I believe, 96, 97, 98 and 99, and this model came at 2001 and onwards. The first generation SL had a couple of problems, starting with the engine mounts. The engine mounts would always go on those cars, especially with the 230 series. The valve cover gaskets would leak, and on the transmission, the rear main seal will leak. Other than the valve cover gasket, the other work, they are kind of very specific to a mechanic shop, so for a DIY guy, not really the best suitable vehicle. On this one, all of those has been taken care of. Mercedes listened to people's complaints and they took care of those problems. But on the engine, this has an oil contamination at the solenoid where it switches the engine from advanced to retard, so the car goes to a limp mode. Because the solenoid doesn't move. So not really a very easy fix, but if you read up on it, you can do it yourself. And the second problem with this engine, actually with any supercharged, which is German for compressor engine, is if you hear your compressor whine, it's probably going out. So keep an eye out for that, which is very generic for any compressor engine, so it's not just specific to these cars. Second, the gearbox. The one to go for is the 5-speed manual, but if you don't have a 5-speed manual, the 4-speed automatic with an overdrive, it's just fine. The gearbox is pretty solid on these cars. But if you have the automatic, make sure you change the oil and the oil filter every 50,000 kilometers or 35,000 miles. And one of the other problem with the automatic is the pilot bushing in the gearbox, it wears out and it leaks oil into the computer. So when the computer is flooded, the gearbox stops working or it won't shift properly, which is a big problem. In terms of the body, this is where this car sucks. The typical, this is an R170 series body shape from Mercedes. It has all the typical Mercedes problems during the 2000 to 2005 era. All the wheel weld, because it's Canada and we have tons of salt on our road, all the wheel weld rust, because I don't know why Mercedes cheaped out on on the quarter panels, but I had this car up on a hoist. I should have had a video from that. If you look under the car, squeaky clean, because the body of the vehicle is made with galvanized steel, so it won't rust. But the quarter panels, very prone to rust, and even the side skirts are prone to rust. This one doesn't have any problem on the side skirt, but the quarter panel, it's a problem. And especially this car, throughout its lifetime, it sat outside under the sun, so it has a lot of clear coat problem, which is very standard for any vehicle which spent most of its life outside under the sun. Now, going to the electronic. I hope the wind is not too noisy. You know what? It's best if I can show it to people. The problem with the electronic is right beside the battery box. There's a CCM box. And sometimes what happens is the CCM fuse goes off, and the CCM fuse leads to the ECU of the vehicle, and that shuts off the ECU. Okay, let me see if I can find it. Right there. That's the CCM box fuse. I don't know if you guys can see my finger. That's where the CCM box fuse is, and that goes to the ECU. And if that fuse goes, the ECU is dead and the car won't start. Please ignore this thing, because I'm gonna have to replace the spark plugs. I'm coming to that in a bit. So, and the way you figure it out that your CCM is gone is when you start the car and go to second position, you're not going to see the check engine light. You're supposed to see the check engine light because that's just how they're designed to do. If you don't see the check engine light, plug in a code reader, read all the codes it has, and you should be able to see. The next one on the list is the roof. They're pretty good in all other hard top. And the only problem is there has microprocessors all around, and micro switches, not processors, micro switches all around the roof, which activates or deactivates based on the position of the roof. Now, if the roof hasn't been used in some time, or it doesn't see too many cycles, especially in Canada in wintertime, nobody opens it. In summertime, people will probably use it more. Those micro switches, they can seize, and when they seize, they will open. And the other thing to do is it's recommended to change the fluid inside the pump every couple of years, just so that the fluid is fresh and it's not gunking up anywhere. The next one is going to be the interiors, and this car is a problem. There is a rubberized coating on top of these hard plastic panels, so over the years they tend to chip off. And if you can see in this one, I have the problem all around. That's pretty much about it. Oh, you know what? The next thing, the last thing on the list, these mag wheels, Mercedes mag wheels. Okay, this is the worst one. They have a tendency to flake. It's just age. It's about $300 Canadian to get them refaced, and it should be good. It's not a big deal. It's just money. With all these problems, I still purchased the car because mechanically it's sound, and the engine and transmission is perfect. The roof works. All the other problems it has, it's all to do with the body, and it's Canada, lady driven, has been dailied, has 188,000 kilometers. I'm gonna check it again. 188,000 kilometers. So you expect these things with this kind of kilometers. Now I am going to try to start this car because I have made a 300ZX video without starting the car, and a guy, he freaked out. Dude, you didn't start the car. And it tricked. You know what? Yeah, I didn't. I really should. So, the check engine light is on. I don't know if you guys can see. That means the CCM is fine. I'm gonna press the brake and try starting it. I hope it starts because it's been sitting here for some time in this cold. The battery, I don't know. Oh yes, I love this car. Even a couple of weeks ago, the car sat for about 4 weeks and stupid cold and winter, and it just started, and today it started, and it's nice. Yeah, well, my plan with this vehicle is I'm gonna fix up the interior, fix up the bodywork. When I purchased this vehicle, it had the check engine light. So I checked the codes. The codes were for a faulty mass airflow sensor and a misfire on cylinder 2. But I drove it from Windsor. On my way, I know when something misfires. Okay, the engine shakes violently and it doesn't run, it doesn't pick up. No, the car was perfectly fine. So I was like, I know one of two things can happen. A, plugs are too old. B, somewhere, somehow, because this car has coils, could be the coils are wearing out. So I pulled it inside the Richard's garage, and I opened the valve cover, which is this compressor, and I was trying to take the plugs off, and oh my god, they were so tight. I was scared that they probably seized in and then I have to reboard it out, and oh my god, that's a lot of work and a lot of money. And slowly and steadily, with a little bit of WD-40, I was able to get them off, and I put them back again with NTCs because I placed my order with the MAF and the plugs through Rock Auto, and I am expected to receive the parts in a couple of days. Yeah, when that comes out, I am gonna make a video of me doing the work, and we go from there. I also know a guy who does a really good job in refinishing the interior. I'm gonna see if he allows me to videotape him while he's doing it. It's gonna be very interesting if I can do that. Well, that's about it. I'm just gonna keep the car running for a little bit because I want this to warm up and go from there. Well, please like and subscribe to my channel if you like it, and stay tuned for more awesome videos coming towards you. And my next video is going to be a Mercedes S55 AMG buying guide again. Check out the link in the description, because I bought the cheapest S55 AMG in the country. I guarantee you that. And yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Stay tuned. Thank you.